Good morning. My name is Christina Felchlin, Support Manager at Ledgeview Partners. I'd like to welcome you to this month's Oil and Gas General User Group webinar. Our highlighted topic for today is the Outlook client. We have a lot to cover today between our highlighted topic and the pre-submitted questions, so we're going to get right to the agenda. We're going to start off our webinar with the Outlook client. Many of you exclusively use the web client, some exclusively use the Outlook client, and many of you use the hybrid approach like I do. Michael is going to start off by telling us the pros and cons of the Outlook and web clients. Just remember, you can use whatever methods work best for you and your organization. In support, we often get the question, what version of the Outlook client should I be on? Michael will help answer that question. He will show you how to track and set regarding emails in the Outlook client. Then he'll wrap up the Outlook client topic with best practices, troubleshooting tips, and a demo on creating a lead in both the Outlook client and the web client. As always, he will answer those pre-submitted questions. And as a bonus today, we're going to give you a quick update on the June 13th oil and gas product release. Then I will close out the webinar with resources and upcoming webinars. On to the housekeeping items. To ensure the best audio quality for all attendees, we have everyone in listen-only mode. If you have a question, please submit those in the question pane of your GoToWebinar control panel. I know we typically don't have much time for questions, but we'd still love to hear from you during today's presentation. If time does not permit, we promise to follow up offline. Lastly, today's webinar is being recorded and will be available on demand after the live session. All registered attendees will receive an email this afternoon with an access link to the recording as well as the presentation slides. Before we get into the content, I want to launch a quick poll to best understand what client you use for the CRM. Do you use the Outlook client, the web client, so that'd be accessed through your internet browser, or a hybrid, so tracking and set regarding through Outlook client, and then maybe everything else through the web? You just take a few seconds to vote. We want to thank you for taking the time to participate in the poll. This gives us a better idea of what our customers use so we can help provide better demos in future webinars. You will notice Michael demos from the web client as that is his preferred use of CRM. All right, so it looks like we have our results there on the screen, and we have 27% of you use the Outlook client, 55% web, and just 18% with hybrid. Great. Thank you for casting your vote there. All right, now we're going to get into the content. So I'm pleased to welcome back Michael Dodd, Support Consultant with Ledgeview Partners.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction, Christina. Today's topic is on the Outlook client. It's a very hot topic for everyone, much like the weather is outside, so let's get rolling. The Outlook client versus the web client. As you heard Christina say earlier, there's three different methods: the Outlook client, the web client, and the hybrid. I'm going to touch on the Outlook client versus the web client and the pros and cons of each. For the Outlook client, you can track and set regard emails right from Outlook. So if you have an email inside of your Outlook that you want to track, you can put that right into CRM and you can set it to regard a specific record. It's convenient if you are always working in Outlook client, the Outlook, but not using the web or CRM heavily. The Outlook client is a great way to conveniently get into CRM when needed. And you don't have to access CRM to see who an email is associated to. You can just look at that right in the actual email message pane. Now there are some cons to the Outlook client. It's not as efficient. We're going to go through a demo later, and I'll be able to show you kind of some of where those efficiencies are lacking. And that can also be due to lag time in opening different windows and also a clunkier navigation. As many of you have seen when we went to 2015 Update 1 and continues in 2016 that we just upgraded to, the navigation is all on one screen. There's no scrolling, no clicking of tabs to expand them. The clunkier navigation in the Outlook client goes back to the clicking of tabs and opening them and expanding folders. It can cause Outlook to crash. The reason for that is because you're taking an item that exists in the cloud and is a very powerful tool in CRM or is on an on-premise server that utilizes the CRM server and the SQL server, and you're taking that and you're putting it and connecting it through an add-in into Outlook. And that could be a lot of data to handle, so it can cause Outlook to crash at times, as it may not be compatible with other add-ins. Also, it opens records in web version without navigation efficiency. You'll see this in our demo. As Christina did mention, web client is my preferred method of utilizing, but I do use at times a hybrid method, and we'll get into that and exactly what we recommend for that. But for the web client, it's very efficient. The navigation is very easy. It's very intuitive. Where you think an item should be is where it is. So in sales, everything that should be under sales is there. Your leads, your contacts, your opportunities, your quotes. Faster load times. Because you're doing everything in the web client, you don't have to connect out to it from Outlook. It's faster. The one major drawback to the web client is the fact that you cannot track and set regard emails right in there. You would have to do a hybrid method and go back to the Outlook client to track and set regard your emails. Now that we've covered the Outlook client and kind of the pros and cons, a lot of people ask, what version should I have? If you're on 2016 of CRM version 2016, which many of you are, we highly recommend upgrading to the CRM 2016 Outlook client. It is still compatible with the 2015 Outlook client, but 2016 is the preferred method. And at this time, do not download Update 0.1. We've noticed a lot of inefficiencies and bugs with that update. So I highly recommend staying away from that. Many of you are not on 2015 update. Well, actually, 95% of you are not on 2015 update 1 or 2015. You are on the 2016 client. But if you are on premise and you're using the 2015 or 2015 update 1, you'll need to be using the 2015 Outlook client, or at the lowest, the 2013 Outlook client. For on-prem, you want to use Update 0.1. That's the main update that you should be using. And if you are still on the 2013 on-premise version, use the 2013 Outlook client, and you want to use Update Rollup 4 for Service Pack 1 for the server and client levels. And the reason for that is because Update Rollup 4 allows you to connect to Windows 10. So if you're planning on doing some upgrade in terms of the operating system for Windows, you want to make sure you have Update Rollup 4 for the Outlook client. I do know that no oil and gas customers are on 2011, so we'll go ahead and bypass that information. There is a new Outlook app that is coming in 2016. It has just been taken out of beta version, so it is brand new. So I'll cover on how it's similar to the Outlook client and how it differs. It is very similar to the Outlook client in terms of that it can track emails or view CRM data anywhere. The main difference, however, is that it could do it on your phone in the Outlook app, which is fantastic. You can still set regard to your emails, and you can still convert email messages to a CRM record. You can create a CRM contact for the sender if they aren't currently in CRM. That is still a feature of the Outlook client. And you can preview information about contacts and leads from CRM. How does it differ? It works with the web Outlook. So if you're using Office 365 and you're on the web when you're on the road, the Outlook app will work with this. With that. It also works with Outlook for Mac. There are a lot of caveats that we're going to get to in a minute, but it does have the capability. It does not, however, track appointments, and it does not work offline. And you cannot control field syncing like you can in the Outlook client. Now, again, this is brand new technology. So if you don't have an immediate need to utilize the Outlook app, we highly recommend waiting, as Microsoft tends to work out bugs and issues that come out with new technology. But if you are looking to use this, there are some major requirements. You have to utilize server-side sync to use the Outlook app. If you're using email router or just the Outlook client, it will not work. If you're a Mac user, you have to have Outlook for Mac installed for the Mac OS X Maverick, Yosemite, or El Capitan. Those are three different versions, and it has to use Exchange Server 15, that Exchange Server or greater. You have to be on Outlook 2013 or 2016, and they have to be on Windows 7 or greater. So it works on 7, 8, 8.1, or 10. Windows 8.1 RT only works for Outlook 2013. The supported browsers, meaning the web searches that you're doing, that browser, Internet Explorer 10, Internet Explorer 11, Microsoft Edge, the latest version of Chrome, the latest version of Firefox. And then if you're on a Mac, Safari version 7 and 8 do work for Mac or OS X. The phones that it works for, iPhones on the operating system of 7, 8, or 9, Android phones running 4.4 or 5.0, and Windows phones that are running Windows 8.1. Again, this is new technology. We highly recommend staying away from it until it's had time to be tested. We at LedgeView Partners have not had a chance to test these items yet to let you know more about how it's working and how it functions. And as it grows as a technology, you hear more and more about bugs and issues. Now on to the current Outlook client that many of you are using and tracking and set regarding emails. I'm going to open up Outlook client and show you how this works, but I'm just going to touch on it briefly. To track emails without associating them to a record, you simply select the email and select track. We recommend doing set regarding because with tracking, it only puts the information in CRM. It creates an activity, but it doesn't associate it to a record. So it's not associated to an account, a contact, an opportunity, any of that information. If you want it to associate to a record, click on Set Regarding, as it'll do both. It'll track it and associate it to a record in CRM. And I'm going to show you how to do both of these. So if we go into Outlook, and I'll pull this over, and we have an email and we want to track, we can simply click Track, and it's going to say Regarding None. And then once it syncs, it will show you that it's been tracked. The other option is to click Set Regarding. And when you click Set Regarding, it's going to pull up a pop-up box. It's called a lookup record. Now, if I want to associate this to Fairview, I should probably click in the search field. If I want to associate this to Fairview Manufacturing, I can search it, check mark it, and then click Add. And then it's going to be regarding, and once it syncs, it will say this email will be tracked. So those are the two different ways of doing tracking and set regarding. I'm going to touch on some best practices for the Outlook client. As Christina mentioned that she uses the hybrid, we highly, highly recommend a hybrid between the Outlook client and the web client. And that's by using the web client to do all your CRM work, meaning your leads, accounts, contacts, opportunities, activities that are not email, quotes, all of that through CRM. But tracking and set regarding emails through the Outlook client. You get the efficiencies of the web client, the faster load times of the web client. It's a great benefit of the Outlook client, and that's the tracking and set regarding emails. If you're sending over 100 emails at one time, we highly recommend that you utilize server-side sync or email routers to process your outgoing email. How your current email configuration is set up is going to drive which one you'll use. But if you're sending more than 100 emails, you want to process them through that. The reason for that is the Outlook client can't process that many emails at once. Set to sync with CRM at the shortest amount of time allowed. Standard is 15 minutes. This can be set by your system administrator, which is us here at LedgeView Partners. So if you want to set that to a shorter amount of time, just contact us and we can adjust that. Utilize set regarding instead of track. The reason for that is set regarding does two things. It automatically tracks it and associates it to a record. If you click track and then later decide you want to associate it to a record, it's an extra step. So doing it all at once the first time is much faster and efficient. I'm going to give you some ideas and tips on signs that the Outlook client needs troubleshooting, and in that case, you will want to contact us here at LedgeView Partners through CRM support at ledgeviewpartners.com. If your Outlook is crashing when it opens, meaning you open, it starts to load, but before you can click on anything, it closes out. Track and set regarding buttons are grayed out. So if they're grayed out, can't click them at all, that definitely means that you need to contact us. When accessing the CRM Outlook client, so if you just strictly use the Outlook client and you click into the client to open up CRM, and it says trying to connect to CRM, that means it's having issues with the configuration. That's where you're going to want to come to us. We'll help troubleshoot that. Any errors whatsoever, come to us. A great way to avoid some errors is to always make sure the email associated in your user record, the user within CRM, is the same as your Outlook email address. So if you ever change your Outlook email address, you want to make sure that you contact us so we can update your user record. And in the lower right-hand corner of CRM, and I'll show you exactly where this is. If it says online with Microsoft Exchange, probably going to be having some issues. We can help adjust this. You want it to say connected to Microsoft Exchange. The other one is if your CRM link is not showing in the lower ribbon bar. So if energy training right here, if that wasn't showing, so let's say JB Doer, if JB Doer is not showing, then you're not going to be able to see that information there. And that means your CRM is not functioning correctly. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over how to create a lead and qualify that lead in both the Outlook client and the web client, and then how to access Advanced Find right from each of them. In the demo, you're going to see the different navigation experiences, the different load times, efficiencies or inefficiencies of each, and how the Outlook client interacts with CRM. So I'm going to start with the Outlook client, or excuse me, with the web client, I apologize. As you can see here, this is your main drop-down. So if you go to Sales, Leads is intuitively right there in Sales. You just click Leads, and you're ready to go. And if we want to create a new lead, we just click on New. Once it's finishes loading. And then I'm just going to type some information in quickly. I'm going to put in my name. And the company name is going to be LVP. And I'm just going to put in my business phone. And type in just the mandatory information. Just so you can see what this will look like once we save it. And actually, one feature I want to touch on since I'm here, you see how this qualify button is locked? This cannot be changed. It's a new feature in the release that's coming in June. This qualify will be locked until you save and create your lead. So once I have this saved, you're going to see that this is actually going to be unlocked. So once it comes out, it comes unlocked. An email that's going to be going out also is that this is going to say false. It'll change to yes, no once you click it. It's something that we're working with Microsoft on. I just wanted to touch on it since everyone can see it. So the way you'll qualify it is by clicking this to yes, clicking save, and then clicking next stage. And then it'll just hover there for a minute, and then it will create the opportunity for you. And again, this is chugging a lot of information, so it can take about 10 seconds for it to complete, but it's doing a lot of different information. It's creating an account, a contact, and an opportunity. So it's churning a lot of data. Next, we're going to do this in the Outlook client. So if we click down into Energy Training, it's going to load our CRM. And this is how it's going to start off looking. So we can go into Sales, and then we're going to find Leads. And as you can see, there's a little bit of a different navigation. You're actually going to have to click down here, find Sales, and then find Leads. And actually right here, this is a perfect version of where you would come to see us. It says CRM failed to load. That means we had an issue with the Outlook client loading for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click New, and I'm going to proceed through this. So if we click on New, it's actually not going to let us do it. This is where you would want to contact LedgeView Partners. We would troubleshoot this for you. And this is another reason why I prefer utilizing the web client. But this is definitely something that we could take care of for you and make sure you're set back on your way to be using the Outlook client. Now, if this did load, you would click New in Lead, and what it would do is it would pop up a web client window of the record, and you would enter your information just like we did in the web client, set your qualify to yes, and click Next Stage. The one big thing to note when you do this, and I apologize that I can't show it to you, is that when you go into it, if you'll notice here in the web client, you see how everything up here, all your navigation efficiencies, so your quick create, your recently found, your advanced find, all of these navigation efficiencies will not appear in that Outlook client web pop-up. And that's because it assumes you're connecting back to the Outlook client. So that's our demo, and unfortunately I apologize again for that not coming up due to technical difficulties, but let's get on to some user questions. Our first question is, as an owner / manager, how do I set it so I can track or get a report or read each day what has been added to our CRM by each or all of our salespeople in the way of notes, actions, opportunities, changes, or follow-up dates? It's a fantastic question, and I'm going to show you different ways you can do this through the existing CRM as it exists today. One option is to utilize Report 500, which is a CRM usage report. This will show the leads, opportunities, quotes, counts, contacts that were created, opened or closed during that time period. You can set that time period to just be 1 day. The other one is to utilize Report 510, which is a CRM activity report. And this will show you the number of activities that you created for all those same entities during a specific time period. Again, you can set that to just be 1 day. Another option is to create a chart for notes. So one of this person's examples was trying to figure out how many notes were created by specific salespeople each day. So if you create a chart for notes by owner and create a view to associate that of just notes created yesterday, that will show you a chart of how many notes were created for each person in the system for yesterday. You can do this for opportunities. You can do it by activities, but I recommend doing it by due date, and that'll act as your follow-up instead of created date. And then this can be put into a dashboard after you create the charts. Please note that if you're looking to track changes, as he mentioned in his question, track changes is usually going to be based on a modified on date. So it will be modified on yesterday. And then you'll create a view and chart based on that information. Our next question is there a report that tells me how long an opportunity has been in CRM, the date it was first opened to the current date? So they know how many days the opportunities are remaining open. There currently is not a report that provides this information, but there is a workaround that can be done. You could create a view showing all of your open opportunities, then add a column showing the created on date, export that information to Excel, and add in a column of number of days open, and you can calculate that information. We currently only track days in each stage through Report 302, so that's a way you could do it by also a manual calculation of seeing how each one, how long it's been in each stage, and that will tell you how long it's been open. Our next question is, how do I look up my customers' group's pay history? That's a fantastic question, and as of today, we currently don't track pay history or invoices within CRM. We do track order history, but that's more the products they've ordered, the gross profit, revenue, units, that kind of information. It doesn't go on to pay. This is currently tracked in the marketer's third-party ERP system. Our next question is, how do I look up profit generated by customers? A fantastic report to use is report 100 or 100B. As you can see down here, 100B is it's account 360 ranking. It means the parent and child accounts rolled together. And you can do this by gross profit. So this report will show you all of your accounts. As you can see down here, it's going to show each of your accounts, their account number, the industry they're in, their address, the user in CRM that owns it, when they started with us. So we can, as you can see, we have customers at 116 years old. So we got some very loyal customers. Their last order date, and then it's going to show you their gross profit. And it's going to rank this. So it's going to show your top grossing profit company or account right off the bat. And it's going to show you the amount of the gross profit percentage that they contribute to your overall bottom line gross profit. And it's going to do a running percentage. So it's going to total them all up so it'll equal 100% at the end. And then on the top, it's going to show your total gross profit, your total revenue, and your total volume for all of this information as well. Our next question is, how do I create a list of top reports? This is a great question. And the way to do this is you would want to pick your report. So if report 200, 210, and the ones I went over earlier, 500 and 510. Those are reports that you look at, on a daily or weekly basis. You would want to pick those reports, then create a view through Advanced Find. Set it to reports, and then in your filtering section, select reports, and then choose those 4, 5, 6, however many are your top reports. Select them. That will be your filter. So it will only show those charts. Update the columns to show the information that you desire. Save that as a view. So that way, anytime you go into the report section, that will be a view. And you can pin it to be your default view. So every time you go into reports, that's going to be your default view. And you can share that with others as you desire. Our next question is, what Outlook plugins or other programs could interfere with the Outlook client when the user tries to link emails to CRM? As I mentioned earlier, sometimes a sign of an issue is if Outlook is crashing. This usually has to do with the Outlook add-in. But if you cannot track emails or you're having an issue there, taskbars could be interfering. And some taskbars that we've removed in the past that have helped, again, it's not limited to this, but we've seen that removing these have helped, is Google Taskbar, Ask Taskbar, and Yahoo Taskbar. If Outlook is crashing, it could be a symptom of an Outlook add-in compatibility issue. We highly recommend removing all non-business essential add-ins. So like Google Apps, Hotmail add-ins, Social Connector, Skype. You really just want to use your business essential ones. This is not always going to resolve the issue, because with the Outlook client there can be underlying issues, and this just could be one that we've removed and fixed. There could be other issues that have crept up. Our next question, is there an automated import from Outlook to CRM? And if there is a way to only select certain contacts in Outlook to be uploaded into CRM, this can definitely be done. The way to do this is to navigate to your personal options. So you can see right here on the right-hand side next to my name, Mike Dodds, there's a little gear button. And then underneath that will be options. Once you click on options, you'll have a list of tabs for your personal options. Click on email, and then if this box is checked, create contacts from the sender or organization of tracked email messages. If they don't exist in CRM, then it's going to create that contact of the sender. So the from section, it will create a contact in CRM for you. And this will happen if you track it. So the pick and choose is done if you track them or you don't track them. Our next question is, does a new contact created in CRM get automatically added to their Outlook contacts? This is actually done automatically with the Outlook client. if you are the user in Outlook and the owner of the contact record, there's that automatic flow down into the Outlook contacts. We have a fantastic mini release coming up. It's going to be live on 6/13/16, so that's a Monday. And LedView Partners will be sending out an email with the highlights as it gets closer to this release, but I wanted to touch on a few very important ones, or touch on all the highlights, and then I'm going to demo one very important one. We moved a lot of reports to Dashboard 97, and what Dashboard 97 does is it's for long-running reports, so reports with a lot of data in them. That way it can run in the background, and then we'll send you an email when it's complete. One that we moved to this was Report 170. So I'm actually going to go in and open up Report 170 and show you how it looks. So if we go to Workplace and we go to Dashboards, and from our dashboards, we're going to go down to Dashboard 97, Report Requests. And then once this loads, it'll have Report, and we'll select 170. So Report 170 before was very basic. It was a start date and an end date. You can now actually do a lot more filtering. You can, again, still select the start date and end date, but it is going to have 3 different group bys. You can group by owner, department, product category, product segment, and industry. So this is really great for further dissecting your data. So you can get a subtotal for the owner, and then under each owner, another subtotal of department for that owner. And then if you want to further do it by industry, you can do that as well. It's a fantastic tool, a really great for you sales managers and salespeople that really like to dive into the data and analyze it. Document 97 has also been updated to explain these new reports and the information inside of Dashboard 97. But the different dashboard or the different reports that were added were Report 100 and 100B, which we touched on earlier. It's the counts ranking. 110, which is an account order history total. 170 we just touched on, and then Report 200, which is a 13-month product analysis. We also added an owner filter to Report 330. So it's just an additional field that allows you to further dissect the data. In the active products view, actually, I'm going to touch on that real quick just to show you what that looks like. So if we go into products, I'll show you the active products view. So as soon as it loads here, we actually added product category, product segment, quantity multiplier, and warehouse. So it just gives you another further view of your data. The supplier logo, we changed this. The only way it's going to show differently to you is that in the quote entity, the supplier logo is now a lookup field. So you'll have to search for it instead of it being a drop-down. A few months ago, Steve contacted you about the amount of data you'd like to keep in your system in terms of having it auto-delete. I know he did this for order history and a few other entities. This is now going to be turned on in this release. So it will most likely start running every month starting in July. And as I touched on earlier, that qualify button, it's going to be grayed out or have that lock around it until the lead is saved.
All right. Thank you, Michael, for that great webinar. Reminder that you have some really great resources that exist in your CRM. If you ever have a question about a report, navigation, whatever it may be, navigate to Workplace and select Documents or Videos. Steve Rebrock from our product team has put together some really great videos and content to help you with your CRM. Another great resource is your LedgeView support team. If you run into an error or have a question or issue, feel free to reach out to the support team at crmsupport@ledgeviewpartners.com or 920-560-6888. Also, we want to let you know that with the long weekend coming up, we want to remind everyone that our offices will be closed on Monday, May 30th for the Memorial Day holiday. Our next CRM user group meeting will be Wednesday, June 29th. Due to summer and vacations, we will be 1 week later than usual. We hope that you can attend live, but if not, we will record the webinar and email it to you. Our June topic will be activities and activity management. The reoccurring user group meeting ended with today's webinar. The link to register for the June user group meeting will be included in the on-demand email today. Be sure to sign up and submit your questions. In that same email, you will also find a link to a survey. Please take a few seconds to let us know what time and date will work best to hold future webinars. On behalf of Michael and I and all of us at Ledgeview Partners, we'd like to thank you for spending time with us today. Have a great rest of your day.